ham or cheese? What did you prefer, ham or cheese? Akira Tetrung Teijin desu.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Doing the job the American media maggots won't. Fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Here is, courtesy of the SHR Media Network, the Bloviating Zeppelin.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, 2 miles east of the locus of evil on the entire left coast. That would be the Capitol building in Sacramento, California, spelled with a K, where late at night you can hear the death of common sense because there isn't any at the Capitol building at 10th and L Streets. And as I exit that door over there, I can smell the noxious, evil vapors of sulfur, off-gassing, and brimstone. You got a belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat. It's great to see you back. Tonight is Tuesday, September 24th, the year of our Lord 2019. Blaine is going to be your bartender tonight, and he pours with the best of them. The lava lamp is, in fact, lighted right there. And let's see, that's to my right, your left. And also, there's a nice candle for the studio. Makes things smell really nice in here. I got to tell you this. We don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all here at the Saloon. Nothing is sacred, the speech is free, but the booze is not. Imagine that. All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress. Tonight, unfortunately, I fear, is going to be an extremely boring show. It's been one of those weeks and one of those days where, it's like, what the hell? Would some news please happen? It's one of those things where the Chinese say, may you live in interesting times. And that's, if you didn't know, that's a nice Chinese way of saying, well, you can go to hell. Well, nothing happened today. So, unfortunately, the onus is on, who's my guest tonight? Who is the guest tonight, BZ? And BZ responded by saying, well, the guest tonight is going to be Carrie Baxter Donovan. Well, wait a minute. Who is she? Well, if you haven't been here before, she is BZ's East Coast political goddess. Or goddess? G-O-D-D-E-S-T. Right. What I call the ECPG, the East Coast political goddess. I'm going to have to end a T there because that's what I said. It's like how the SR-71 got its name. But I digress. That's my job, to digress. So Carrie Baxter Donovan let's see, I can never remember, are you of the New Hampshire Donovans or the Vermont Donovans? I can never remember. Are you there? Carrie, are you there? Why am I not hearing Carrie? It's one of those things where I wish I'd done this before. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. And let's do this. There we go.
Hello?
There. Now I'm getting a ringer.
Yes.
It's
all right. Awesome.
It,
So, New York, Boston. Yes. All.
Boston? Wow.
Yep.
You and Sean have a lot more in common than I ever would have guessed.
Oh yeah. Well, it is of the Donovan line is of Wild Bill Donovan.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, for
Yeah, it is.
For those who may not know, this is a serious history lesson. And let's see, Carrie can either beat it into you or I can beat it into you. But the history lesson goes like this. Wild Bill Donovan was essentially the creator of OSS during World War II, which is the Office of Strategic Services. That transmogrified into the what, Carrie Baxter Donovan?
The CIA.
The CIA. Absolutely correct. And so your lineage includes Wild Bill Donovan, the creator of the OSS, the precursor of the CIA.
Yes, the greatest fighter of communism yet.
I did not know.
People give me a really hard time about it. I wouldn't want to be related to anyone in the CIA. It's like, why don't you go get a history book and find out about this American hero? I've told my kids too, because so their grandfather looks exactly like Wild Bill Donovan. The picture that's on the back of the most recent book looks exactly like their grandfather, right? And so, spitting image. Like people get scared when they see it, and it's startling how similar they look. Yeah. So, but he was a good guy. So just remember that. But the CIA not doing too well these days. But perhaps it will be restored. That's what we're hoping for, right?
Yes, we are hoping for it. I'm sure you heard the intro, as in, sadly, there really isn't much that happened this past weekend.
It was cute. I was laughing.
And today.
There's nothing to laugh about
and yesterday. Oh, and I would be remiss if I did not say welcome to Wendy Lawrence, welcome to Right Wing Aviator, welcome to Jack Alexander, welcome to Whiskey Dale, welcome to one viewer. Oh, Whiskey Dale, I need to mention this as frequently as he appears in the saloon. For those of you who do not know, Whiskey Dale is the donator of the Bobcat Clyde to the saloon. Now
that awesome Bobcat.
You can't see him in the current setup, and I'm working on getting a second camera in here so that a low point can show a high res view of Clyde in the back. And he is over there. By the way, Clyde is residing over my red MAGA hat, and it's his job to make sure the saloon is secure when BZ and or Sean is not here. As Whiskey Dale says, Clyde rules. Also, Whiskey Dale said he wonders if, Carrie Baxter Donovan, you are related in any way, shape, or form to the guitarist Jeff Skunk Baxter.
That's my uncle.
Are you serious?
Yes. So I was his personal assistant for a while when I lived out in Los Angeles. That's my uncle. And
you are related to the guitarist of Steely Dan.
Yes, Steely Dan. So he's my uncle, and his father, Loy Baxter, is the guy that they basically wrote the movie Mad Men about. Don Draper, the character Don Draper,
right,
is his father, my grandfather, who was the vice president of J. Walters Thompson and opened up the J. Walters Thompson office in Washington, D.C. in like the 60s. Yeah.
God,
that's my family.
I am absolutely gobsmacked. And I got to tell you, Carrie Baxter Donovan, here's the best part of it. This is really great. You may have even told me both of these things last year, but because I have no memory when you tell me this year. I'm impressed and amazed as if you'd never told me before. So that's why
then it's all good.
I'm all
There's no
full
news to talk about,
of excitation and ebullience at the fact that you've got some serious people with some serious horsepower in your background.
Well, and then also in my lineage is John Breckinridge, who was the youngest vice president of the United States.
I heard he was 16, but I think it was only a rumor.
I think he was older than 60. But, it's good that we could talk about this crazy stuff because nothing has happened.
That's right. Nothing has happened. Before we get to nothing, Carrie Baxter Donovan, we haven't tried. You haven't been in the saloon for a while, and yet you've been massively busy because I kind of. There's the intersectionality of BZ and Carrie Baxter Donovan. So occasionally I am impressed by your tweets and your massages on Facebook.
Thank you.
So you are on Facebook as Carrie Baxter Donovan, so you can find her there.
Yeah.
And she is also on Twitter and I'm going to have to spell this, SAORSA 1776. So if you want to find Carrie Baxter Donovan, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to type that right now in the chat room so people can find you. Wait a minute.
Rosa. It's a Scottish word.
SAORSA 1776. Okay, there we go. Now I just put it in the chat room. So what is that, and what does that name mean?
Rosa is Scottish. It's a Scottish word. It's which one was this? I was trying to search for my Scottish word. I had habit last time and nobody got it and nobody liked it, so I changed it. Right. It's Gaelic, right, and it's for freedom, salvation, and redemption.
I always thought that it was something similar to you were trying to make an explanation, as in nothing really happened here. But
it was a word and nobody got it, so I said, "Oh, just forget it. I'll just go find another Scottish word." So I did.
I'll ask this in chat, and I'll tell everybody here right now. One of my favorite guitar solos in history is Jeff "Skunk" Baxter playing the solo in "Reeling in the Years." I cannot hear.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I cannot but hear the entire song, and especially the guitar solo in that, "Reeling in the Years," and it not affect me and put a smile on my face. So when I hear that song...
it's interesting that you say that, because there's a day I was like, it was that perfect driving day, and the weather was good, and the sun was shining, and that song came on, and, I love that solo, and I stopped. I pulled over on the side of the road, and I wrote to him, and I said, "Hey, Jeff, do you understand, joy that song brings me?" So, me too. I love it.
Yeah, I'm listening to Steely Dan, and I pull off the side of the road, and no, I don't get to send a message to Jeff "Skunk" Baxter because I'm feeling really good. Only one person we're talking to right now gets to send a special message to Jeff "Skunk" Baxter because she happens to know him.
Well, I happen to be I happen to be related to him, and you just get born where you're born. You for sure. Everyone has famous people in their family tree.
Right. I had
famous people, patriotic people. That's what matters. Service members, yes, important Americans. So you have people in your tree that I can't write to.
You're right. I have Franklin Zeppelin, who was my great-great-grandfather, and he was known for digging some of the finest cesspools in Northern California. So that's what I have to feature in the Zeppelin side of the family. Good old Franklin, really handy with a shovel. He could get down 6 feet to 10 feet in a day.
Come on. No, do you try to pull the wool over my eyes now? There's something else.
No, I'm just telling you the truth.
But that's important. But that's important work.
It is
important.
That's right. Manual labor is not to be diminished in any fashion whatsoever.
No.
So
no,
a
it's
lot
really
of
not.
a lot of stuff has changed. Okay, so I just pimped your Facebook page, and I just
Thank you.
pimped your Twitter page. And so you don't write for Citizens Media, and you're not writing for anybody right now, are you? Or are you?
No, so I've run through the gamut of writing. I have had a number of people who have tried to entice me to write for them, but I'm not writing at the moment right now. I did have a conversation today with someone who really wants me to write for them because at one point, probably about a year ago, I wrote 600 articles in 1 month, and apparently the news got out that I did that. And there's people who want me to write for them, but I'm just not. It's got to be the right person right now, or the right messaging. I can't write for clicks. It's not interesting to me. I'm all about I want to throat punch some communism, and if I'm not throat punching communism, I'm not getting on anyone else's team at the moment. I do have a show on Patriot Soapbox that I'm doing on Saturdays and Sundays now for a little while, and that's a lot of fun for me because I get to do whatever I want to do, and so I get to throat punch some communism during those hours on Saturday and Sunday. So that's all I'm doing right now. But if you talk to me next week, that might be different. I might be writing again.
Which is what makes you really attractive. Is I know that when I talk to you, something different will have occurred in your life. and as you mentioned, since you mentioned it, I have always said for, 40 or 50 or maybe even 60 years now, there is no problem on this planet that cannot be solved with one of two things, either vodka or a throat punch. And that is the absolute truth. So
that's why we're in the saloon. Get some vodka. We can try to keep throat punching down. We don't have to do that with each other, but yeah, vodka and throat punching. That's what I'm about.
Now, if I had a really good producer, and they're waiting in the wings, I've got 5 or 6 people waiting with the application over on the SHR Media couch over there, waiting to be my producer. But if I'd had a producer, when you said throat punch, folks, you would have heard. Oh, wait a minute. See, that's why I can't even have a good producer. You would have heard, because I'm not the producer, you would have heard. But I'm not the producer, and I'm even when I'm the producer, I'm a crappy producer, just as you witnessed right there. Oh,
You're the best.
God.
You're the best.
Welcome to.
I get so excited when you ask me to be in the saloon. I'm like, yes. When? I've been waiting for my invitation.
In the meantime, Mike has jumped into chat, and so has Kaiser. So welcome to Kaiser.
Hello.
Welcome to Mike.
Welcome.
Have you had quaffed any particularly savory whiskey these days?
No, I don't think I've been out drinking for a while.
Oh, I know why.
But I can tell you a funny whiskey story.
Oh, I want to hear. Yeah. I want to hear a funny whiskey story.
So
okay, go.
My 20-year-old college student moved home and dropped off his stuff.
Okay.
And went off to Utah to have an internship where he turned 21. Okay. I was going through and helping just move some of his things out of the middle of the living room so that I could walk, and my lost flask falls out of a bag, which I thought was very interesting.
His
because
flask.
I had lost a flask of whiskey, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And it fell, and it hit me in the toe. And I had been bugging people, like I see at political meetings. I'd say, the last time I remember having my whiskey flask was when you were around. Do you have it? And people were like, why do you keep asking? What is the deal? I'm like, I had a full flask of whiskey. It disappeared, full of bullets. Okay?
Okay, can I tell you a story then?
But he turned 21 by the time he came home, so I couldn't bust him. Yes.
Okay, 2 points I'd like to mention. One of them is that at your recommendation, now, maybe this is time for a preference. Maybe I should put a little asterisk on what I'm about to say. And that's, some people have a proclivity towards certain drinks. Now, Jack Alexander in chat says consistently tells me that I should not have anything to do with that communist substance that I enjoy, vodka. I simply call it really good potato water. But that's part of my overall machination. So at your recommendation, though, last year, I don't think I told you this story. I went out and I even took a picture and put it on social media of me holding a bottle of Bullet whiskey. So I took the picture, put it on social media. It was late at night. I'd just gotten through from doing the saloon. And I thought, okay, let's just have a big swig of this stuff because she says it's really, really good.
Oh, yeah. Really
so
good.
I uncorked it, pulled it off, and I had a big swig. And all I know is that I found out immediately that whiskey is not for me. It's an acquired taste. Now let's transition.
It's a little spicy. Yeah.
Spicy?
Is it a little spicy? Maybe I don't know. Is that a word you'd use?
It's not that it burned. You know, if you're not used to it, pretty much all alcohol burns, and especially if you light it on fire. But it's just one of those things where I have discovered over the years what I can do and what I can't do. And folks, we've blasted through 20 minutes and we haven't even gotten to any topics yet, but I'm going to continue on this because I enjoy the hell out of talking to Carrie Baxter Donovan, just about anything and everything.
Awesome.
So
I am a little concerned though, if you didn't drink it.
No, I did. I did drink it.
Out, did you?
I didn't.
Did you
no.
drink the whole bottle?
No, I did not. I had another sip.
Where's the bottle?
I had another sip or two just to confirm my confirmation in a confirmatory fashion.
To make sure that you didn't like it, you drink more.
Well, yeah,
well,
sure.
Whiskey, it'll get you.
Exactly. Well, that's what
grab you by the throat.
Listen, that's what I'm thinking. If I can't get a little buzz out of this, because I did buy it cash. I didn't loan it or rent it or anything, so I own it. It's actually mine.
Right, because it's a whole bottle. Now what are you gonna do? You gotta love it.
And it's only down
just throw it away.
Right. It's only down just a little bit. And folks, if you haven't seen a Bullet bottle, the bottle itself is really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I mean, I what I should have done is given it to X, Y, and Z and have them, do whatever they were going to do with it, and then keep it and put some ivy in it or a flower or something like that. The bottle is so nice.
It is a nice bottle. It's
but
very old school kind of.
Yeah, but I did give it. You'll be pleased to know that I did give it to somebody else who appreciated it. Further, they didn't just appreciate it. They really, really thanked me in about 2 days after they demolished the entire thing. So some serious drinking.
You made a new friend.
Yeah, I did.
You made a friend happy.
Yep.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that you didn't throw it away. Like,
No.
Oh, see, there goes everyone just throwing my Bullet whiskey all over the place, like as if it doesn't mean anything. But
No.
at least you gave it some respect and gave it away to some happy home.
I gave it to someone who really appreciated it at another job, let's say. But years ago, and maybe you have a story, Carrie Baxter Donovan, but our bodies tell us what we can take and what we cannot take. And I discovered a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there's one liquor that is evil. And I mean, it's evil. When I'm telling you about evil, I don't mean just a capital E and then small letters after that. Oh, no.
You're not going to say whiskey is evil, are you?
No.
That would be prejudice.
No, I mean
all right.
evil. All 4 letters are capitalized, boldened, and italicized. Evil.
Wait, what is it? What is it that's evil? What? I'm hanging by the seat of my chair here. I'm like ready to fall on the floor in anticipation. What? What is it?
Tequila. Oh.
Oh, yeah, tequila.
Oh,
tequila. Yeah.
Me and
Although,
tequila.
I gotta tell you this. Listen, I had this awesome tequila shot this summer. I've been scared to death of tequila after a bad incident with bad ties at a fraternity party in college. I'm with you, but listen to this. I had this pineapple-infused tequila that was had cayenne pepper all around. She dunked it in cayenne pepper, and she gave me, and it was incredible.
Oh.
It was so good. I'm like, I actually think I kind of like tequila again.
Oh, just listening to that.
I know. I might get you started. Maybe I might have to come over there. I might have to come have a party with you. Yeah.
What I discovered early in my life, in my career, is that, and I've only had tequila, honestly, probably 5 times in my life.
Oh.
Literally. I'm in my 7th decade, okay? And 5 times over that amount of yearage, that's not much. But I discovered that one of the things it does is it makes me very evil. And it makes me bad. And
we don't like that.
Bad things happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I can, to this day, I'll wager I can have 2 shots of tequila and not tell you what happened in the 2000s, in the early 2000s. I will completely have forgotten about Microsoft. Oh, here's another No, I'm not going to tell you that story. No, that's a gross story. Let me just say that tequila, I cannot and will not do tequila anymore. So is there one thing, Carrie Baxter Donovan, that you learned that you can't do with regard to alcohol, that turns you upside down and either makes you very bad or bad things happen, that you've learned to hold at arm's length?
Yeah, it's all alcohol that does that. But I've just learned to accept the consequences for that. Right. But if it doesn't make me feel good, I don't like that.
Wow.
Let's see. Yeah. I mean, hey, life is hard. You have to be serious. You have to work your butt off. You have to, do all these serious things. There's a place and a time to just cut loose. That's what alcohol's for.
Yeah, it's like after tequila and you wake up.
It makes you feel sick.
Yeah, and you're.
I can't even go back to those. That I'm telling you, there was a party. It had it was a fraternity party. There were hats and weird ties, and it was just a bad scene. No, but what does happen to me is if I don't eat, and I think this happens to women a lot. They don't eat and then they go drink and can get very drunk very fast. But when I was in college and in a sorority, there was a time when the boys put Everclear grain alcohol in the beer. So you'd have 2 beers, and the next thing you know, you're waking up the next day at a different time in a place. Now, that is not funny, and I didn't like that. So I don't like Everclear in my beer. I don't like alcohol. And people say you can't taste it, and I say lie. But yeah, tequila.
What?
I'd go with grain alcohol. Yeah, so I'm not drinking that stuff ever again.
I knew it was a bad day or a bad morning when I woke up. There was a stuffed monkey near my head. My pants were around my ankles, and the sofa was on fire. That's the last time.
No.
That's the last time I drank tequila. Guaranteed.
Yes.
Oh my God! And now you're talking about Everclear. That's like when I was in corrections. One of the first things that you do. I mean, you've got to be bad to drink Pruno, because in corrections, in the jails and prisons, you give prisoners fruit. They add sugar, put it in a bag, let it ferment, and it'll knock your ass out. But it's the worst smelling thing on the planet. It is terrible. It's like if you took what you'd imagine if you took liquid Gila Monster, what that would smell like if you drank it.
Oh no. And then no.
Yeah. No.
Making my tummy hurt right now.
Oh.
I feel like up in my tummy hurts up in my throat right now.
Yeah. Okay,
Not
folks,
easy.
we're talking to Carrie Baxter Donovan. We have said absolutely nothing for a half hour, and I've had a great time doing exactly that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into some serious Quaalude territory because, man, we are in an alternate universe today. So you're on a ride. You're in the saloon, folks. We're talking to Carrie Baxter Donovan, and I'll be right back after this. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Conservative
There we
media
go.
done
Good Lord.
right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, shh, don't tell anyone. You're in the saloon. the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Always spell it with a K, please. No more C's. Always spell it with a K, because that's purposeful. Tonight, in the first hour, we are speaking to BZ's ECPG, which is the bloviating Zeppelin's East Coast political goddess, Carrie Baxter Donovan. On your show recently, you had someone that I consider to be very important, and if I could maybe spend the next 5 minutes on this interview with this individual, then I'd like to move on to some political topics. But you did a very important interview with someone recently. Who was that, Carrie Baxter Donovan?
Oh, yeah, I had Andrew Pollack on last Saturday.
And tell folks who Andrew Pollack is.
So Andrew Pollack is the father of one of the victims at the Parkland shooting. His daughter's name was Meadow, and he wrote a book, Why Meadow Died, and he's been out, speaking out against gun control. And he says we don't have a gun control problem, we have a school reform problem.
Yep.
And he's the father who has been all over. He's been all over the media. All over the national news. Fox News has him on, at least once a day, probably talking about his book and talking about his point of view. So he's a conservative, and he had moved his daughter there to that district thinking that they were going to get a great, education. He wasn't originally from that area, which is kind of why everyone else is a bunch of liberals, and then there's this one guy who's a conservative, and he gets trounced on by the left a lot, because he had a Trump hat at one point. He is a supporter of President Trump. But like you said, this isn't a political issue. And so he wrote a book called Why Meadow Died. And he says it's a manual on what he wants parents to know about the school system. He specifically wants them to know what kinds of questions to ask their school, at their school district, to make sure that the children are being protected. And so he exposes a lot of things in the book. I haven't had a chance to read the book yet. He's going to come back on after I get a chance to read the book. But so in that interview, we basically just sort of talked about his experiences leading up to the book. And then he talked, about his passion, why he wrote
it. I hope to have him on myself. But the one thing that he said that really resonates with me is what Broward County did with that student suspect is the same thing that Gavin Newsom is doing now in California. Leftists, I say, and I will continue to say until my dying day, they have no concept whatsoever of history. They have no sense of foreshadowing. They cannot see the clear consequences that are in front of their faces. They learn nothing from history. They have most definite historical Alzheimer's. So the exact same situation.
I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
The same situation that occurred in Florida for that kid, the suspect, is the same situation that's brewing now here in California. That's why I want to talk to him, because Gavin Newsom just said that students that disturb classes in any fashion, you can't take them out of the schools anymore. You can't take them out of the classes. That is an extremely disturbing and massively, arrogantly, naively stupid maneuver, but to be expected by leftists.
And Eric Holder had put it in place a while ago. So this has been something that's been going on for a while. Here in North Carolina, he sued the state. Eric Holder sued the state of North Carolina over this topic of disciplining children. And I had a woman on this past Saturday who's in Texas who ended up, she was undercover videotaping the school because there was a situation when her daughter was attacked. And they wouldn't give her any information. They were protecting the child who attacked her daughter.
Of course.
And so she came on, right? And so it's happening all around the country. And it's really policies. Like Andrew had said, It's the policies that lead up to protecting these kids, right? And you, in California, have a double whammy because now you got Newsom guy who's, he's in love with these policies, where here in North Carolina, we were trying to get rid of the policies. Yeah, so the situation is that we know what the problems are. Now, like you said, the leftists, who are purely political animals, who are putting their political agenda in front of, they're prioritizing their political agenda over the well-being of their own children. And we've seen it. I have personal experience with it. I've been a homeschooler for 20 years. I've seen it all over the place. You've seen it. We all know, we're all awakening to this. Wow. And that brings us to this week with Greta Thunberg. All of these things are tied together, right?
Yes.
We can see the patterns. They're so in desperate need of their ideology to be successful, to be on top, the control and dominance of other people, that they will sacrifice their own children. And we have to just get our heads around it. That's what political beasts they are, who are our opponents. They're not our brethren. They're not our country mates. They are not the men and women of America. They're political beasts. I've had enough this week. And I'm laughing, but really this week, I'm triggered. I've had enough.
We'll get into it. We got 20 minutes left. We can do this in 20 minutes, I think.
We're going to tie it all together. But
yeah, I think we can.
With Andrew Pollack,
but
book, you'll have him on. Mm-hmm.
But to this chick, Greta, can't even think of her last name, and it's fairly immaterial. She's
Thunberg.
Mm-hmm. People have already said that there's something not quite right with her, and her parents and people on the left are trotting her out as a spokesperson at the age of 16 for global warming. I'll go into that in great detail on Thursday night.
She's Asperger's autistic.
Right. And so they're taking advantage of her.
They're exploiting her. They're exploiting and debasing her.
Are they ever? Yes.
The definition of child abuse is to debase the pride of a child is the definition of child abuse.
You have scarred her for life. You've scarred her for life. Yeah. You have made her afraid of living. And by extension, kids that are listening to her, 8, 9, 10 years old, you have made them quivering pools of little kids whose childhoods you've kicked to the curb because of your corrupt political philosophy. These kids don't get to be kids anymore because of, calm down, BZ, because of people like her and people who manipulate her.
And a systematic failure of the people who are supposed to protect children, of the policies that are supposed to protect children, of Western civilization, which was designed to protect women and children.
These are child abusers.
That's what Western civilization really is.
Yes,
they're child abusers.
This is
run rampant.
The exact same thing that I would see in child abuse when I was a detective for a 2,000-plus officer department. I was a detective in child abuse. And you have people who groom and pet and lick and create and develop children because the adult mind is smarter and more manipulative than the child's mind, which is much more willing to go with the flow, so to speak. That is how incredibly evil people who are doing this, robbing children of their youth, their childhood. There are few things that are more despicable. You almost may as well have taken an object and penetrated her in public. And in a way, it was a public penetration because she will not recover from this. I think she's scarred throughout her life.
Well, she won't. But BZ also, on Friday, they opened up the schools and allowed children to have climate protests, as we know, right?
Yes.
So not only are they scarring this Greta, they're scarring American children, and they've been doing it for many years. Now, here's the thing. Many people are uncomfortable talking about this topic because they know somewhere deep in the back of their psyche that these things have been going on for 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, we have allowed our children to be debased. We have allowed their pride to be debased. Telling black children, "Oh, America isn't for you," that's debasing their pride in America, in their American identity. I mean, I could go on and on and on with examples. Right? Of this is child abuse.
You could.
And I'm glad. On one hand, I'm glad because that's why I homeschooled my children 20 years ago. I said, "You're not getting my kids." No. The answer is no. Call me Mrs. Snow. You're not getting your claws on my little kids. I will throat punch you all. Okay. But for the people would just not listen. They wouldn't listen. What is that called? The bias, normalcy bias. People going along with it. I think this Greta thing was so frightening this week. It was like Children of the Corn meets the Star Trek episode I keep making reference to called And the Children Shall Lead, which creeped me out when I was a kid. People have seen this now. It's like a frightening science fiction movie. Like, whoa, I think that she shook some people out of their slumber. Wake up. Our children are being debased.
It's another Lord of the Flies kind of thing. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think, Carrie Baxter Donovan, that something good can come out of this? And that's another reason that I'm glad that I'm talking to you tonight, because you have kids, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that there may be something. There may be something good to come out of this in terms of, with all of this rampant exposure, do you think that perhaps more parents will cast a more critically jaundiced eye towards public schools and say, I think I've had it with public schools. It's time to get my poor kids out of that system and either homeschool them, put them in charter schools, or anything but a public school.
Yeah. We're having a mass exodus of the public schools, but I also want to remind people of this. Now, I was a victim of child abuse, of sexual child abuse. I recovered from it. You can recover from it, and it was a long road, but I did recover from it. And I was also an early victim of the hoax, ADD hoax, where they just basically drugged me and sat me in a corner because I happened to be really good at math. Now, my 16-year-old is a senior at NC State, going to finish up with a computer science degree. That's a hardcore degree in math and engineering. Okay, so my son, who I raised, is a math prodigy, right? So I was very good at math. Well, anyway, they drugged me and sat me in a corner and told me that I had ADD. Now, on top of that, I came from an abusive home. You're going to find no more militant communist stomper than me. And look how I was treated. So my story is, I keep saying, if we could just at some point reach out to these kids and say, their lives are not over. They can recover from some of these things as long as they have someone point them in the right direction at some point, right? The human mind, the mind can heal, the brain can heal, the spirit can heal, the soul can heal, all of those things, right? So it's not as dire as what some people might think it is. I think the good news is people are getting shocked to their core over the things that we've been talking about. I've been talking about this stuff for over 20 years. All of a sudden, people are starting to listen. So it's good news. Sorry.
There's a corollary in child abuse that goes something like this. All of those who abuse were abused. All people who were abused will not necessarily abuse themselves. And that is a very important distinction to make. The other corollary is you only hope that they have some parents somewhere, that she has somebody in her life now or later who can recognize her clear needs and help her and set her straight. You only can hope. And that charter schools, go boom.
And I tell people this too. It can be a person out at a store who smiles at you as a child, and just lets you know, like, not everybody is bad. It could be an aunt. My aunt told me about Jesus when I was very little, so she kept that conversation going with me. That was very important to me. That saved me. I had other uncles and my grandparents and other people. So it can be people in society. It can be people out at the grocery store. It could be a parent, somebody else. So I think that it's a good time for us to remember the power that we have as an American community. You know, not that garbage that Hillary talks about. It takes a village to raise a child. No. But as an American community, if you see a child out in a store someplace, you know, it doesn't hurt to be nice to that child. You don't know where they came from. And if you do know where they came from, that gives you a good reason. We can heal a lot of these children. I'm very hopeful that we will, because there are parents who are grabbing their kids now. I know I see it on all of these mom loops, and this is what I've been trying to prevent, is people grabbing the kids in an emergency. We don't know what to do now. And, like, you better plan to just homeschool, right? Make plans so it can be very smooth and everybody isn't stressed out. But that's not what's happening. And you know, okay, fine. The parents are responding, yes. They're starting to realize, wait a minute, there's 32 different languages being spoken in this public school of mine. English isn't even, I mean, my kids are just sitting there. They don't even know what's going on because they don't speak one of these crazy languages. Anyway, I could go on down a rabbit hole on that topic.
In New York City alone, I heard that this week, there are 174 distinctly separate languages that the city of New York has to somehow appeal to or appease. That's a recipe for disaster and insanity. Whoa, wait, BZ. Isn't that a transition? It sure is. Speaking of insanity, someone who is insane, and I'll prove it here by an audio bit, did something kind of interesting today.
Coming here in this week that we observe the birth of our presidents, in particular George, our founding father, and our founding mother, George Washington and Martha Washington. We followed his lead on protecting the butterfly sanctuary, the knowledge that he has of the region, being a border member of Congress. And what that meant was we would have hundreds of millions of dollars. And we had the opportunity to meet with David Higgerson, the field director of field for the CPD detection. That Constitution begins with the beautiful preamble to the Constitution, and the very first words at the end of following the preamble are Article 1.
I'll kind of pot this down in the background, but that's a loony right there.
What does he know about the Constitution? Right?
Yeah.
What does he know about the Constitution?
Yeah, not much.
And by the way, there's no founding mother. That's just disgusting.
Yeah, there is no such thing. In any event, having heard about that nutter, let me ask you another reason that I wanted you on the show tonight. Mm-hmm. Haven't you, specifically, Carrie Baxter Donovan, been talking about Ukraine yourself for at least the past year or two?
Yes, I'm so glad that someone noticed. I've been talking about the Ukraine for a long time now. I had a businessman who had floated me a bunch of information saying that they knew that there was problems with Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and the Ukraine officials, and that the Ukraine officials were trying to get their story out. And because I'm a stay-at-home mom in North Carolina, how do I get that information? I've been talking about the Ukraine for a long time. And what I want to say is everyone in the media knows the story of Biden. They know what was going on with Biden's sons. I mean, I think that even there was news stories in the mainstream news about it. So this is not a surprise. But they're trying to impeach Trump on what Biden did. Don't we know that? And I just watched tonight, Giuliani said, it's a trap. They fell into a trap. The Democrats fell into a trap.
Yes, and we have 7 more minutes before the top of the hour. So we're not
trying to get it all in.
We're not going to be able to address but a fraction of this.
Mm-hmm.
But in your opinion, let's summarize and then go into maybe a little bit more detail. In your opinion, Carrie Baxter Donovan, did the Democrats today happen to hand over the 2020 election to OMB, Orange Man Bad, Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head?
I think that they did even more than that, because Trump was going to win in the landslide no matter what, because he's got at least the magic number was 24%. If he could get 24% of Black Americans to vote for him, he was going to win. That number now is 36% and growing rapidly. That number is not going to stop. He was always going to win. But the other races weren't necessarily going to all go for people who would support him. And now what I think is what happened today was they handed that to Trump, but they handed it to Republicans across the board. And Democrats, I think, are going to have a hard time for the next 50 years unless they're in extremely blue district, right? I think they just nailed their coffin shut. I'm not sad about it either.
They handed, in 2020, I think they handed control of the House back to the Republicans. Today, mark your calendars, folks. Today was a seminal 24 hours in the history of the United States of America.
It was incredible.
Plus,
I was laughing.
Yes, plus, we will keep the Senate as well. So we will have, unlike Bush when this happened, who was afraid to wield the power, does anybody have any hesitancy whatsoever thinking that in his second term, Donald John Trump will not hesitate to wield this power? And the answer is yes, he will.
You will. And it will save us from a full communist takeover.
Yes.
That is what we're facing.
Yes, absolutely.
That is really what we're facing. That's not crazy conspiracy kook stuff. Ooh, it's real. And he will have done it. And they laid a trap, it sounds like, and the Democrats fell for it. So, F them. Good. They fell in it.
Carrie Baxter Donovan, 5 minutes left.
Yes.
4 minutes. Let me read you a quote that was, to me, so impressively insightful that I heard tonight just before I got here in the studio. And it was made by Greg Jarrett. Mm-hmm. And think about this, because no one has said this today, but I think it's imperative. We know that Trump has said that he's going to turn over the transcripts of this telephone call. We know that the whistleblower doesn't even qualify as a whistleblower because he or she is not a member of the intelligence community and therefore not subject to being covered by whistleblower laws. Then we also subsequently discover that the whistleblower didn't hear what occurred directly. This is secondhand. This is in the legal term. This is called hearsay. Now, that having been said, here's what Greg Jarrett today said on Sean Hannity's show. Mull on this for a while. He said the president is duty-bound under the Take Care Clause of the Constitution if he knows of a potentially corrupt act by a vice president trying to extort a foreign country to shut down a probe that involves his son. The president is duty-bound to ask that foreign country to investigate, produce the evidence. If he doesn't, it is a dereliction of his constitutional duty. Have Carrie Baxter Donovan, the Democrats, gone down their own rat hole of their own creation?
They have. And Giuliani dropped something on Laura Ingraham a little while ago, and he was saying, and I think this plays into what you were just saying. He said, it's a strange name, and I can't find much on it. It's a strange phrase, but he said that Biden had a knowledge of guilty evidence. And that has to do with money laundering, with a payment that was going for the Ukraine. And so there's all of this evidence that's going to come out, according to Giuliani, that Biden was doing some very bad stuff, and it's very obvious how very guilty he was. And so Trump would have had to have asked about that.
That's called consciousness of guilt.
Consciousness of guilt.
In court.
The other thing is, The other thing is, it sounds like they have the court case tied up, right? They know what they're doing. The other thing is, they find out that the whistleblower has ties to Schumer and Hillary Clinton.
Huh.
That was in the IG report on this, or a statement someplace. That when I was coming in here. So there's so much going on. And I had said early in the day when this first came out, within 24 hours, some Democrats are going to start to backpedal on this and try to get away from it because it's obviously a trap, you dummies. How can I be a stay-at-home mom in North Carolina and know that and they don't in D.C.? I don't know.
You want to hear something a bit prescient, Carrie Baxter Donovan? It's funny you should mention that, because not long after that announcement was made, Tulsi Gabbard did pretty much that exact same thing. Imagine that.
Oh, really?
So would I be correct, Carrie Baxter Donovan, in summarizing something similar to, let's see, everything that the Democrats and by extension, the American media maggots have been accusing Donald John Trump of, they themselves are specifically guilty of. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that would be accurate. And I have to tell you this. My 11-year-old daughter said to me today, Mom, if the Democrats are digging at and investigating Trump so much and they can't come up with anything at all, he must be an angel. And I'm thinking to myself, well, he's not quite an angel, but that's from the point of view of an 11-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he not only is he not doing anything, but it's all projection. If they start accusing you of something, then you know, oh, that must be what you're doing right now. We're to that point. They're political demons. They will do anything, including they will hurt their own children. If they're going to hurt their own children, and we know that they will, they'll hurt us too.
But they'll do anything. They don't care who they hurt. Okay, Carrie Baxter Donovan, it's been a while since I've had you on. I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to have you on back next month. Just a little bit of a heads up. When I go to the break, I'm going to send you a text message just so that you know that it's coming. It's been too long since I've had you in the saloon. My apologies to you about that. I enjoyed the hell out of the first half hour. I enjoyed the hell out of the second half hour. So I really, Carrie, I enjoy it every time we talk.
Oh, I always love talking to you. So I would love to come back anytime. And I'm going to send you that contact information for Andrew Pollack, and I will be listening. That will be great. And I'll come back anytime.
Okay. Thank you ever so
kindly,
all the time.
Ma'am. I never want to. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking me. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much. Thanks for staying up so late. It's midnight.
Ding dong. Gotta go sleep now.
That's right. Good night. See ya. That was Carrie Baxter Donovan. And we're going to go to this. Be right back for the second half hour. Don't you go away.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore. and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that was a great first hour. Enjoyed the hell out of that. Enjoyed the heck out of Carrie Baxter Donovan. Enjoyed talking strange alcohol stories for the first half hour. BZ made some revelations that heretofore he had never done before, which unfortunately appeared to place him in something of a compromising position, I guess you could say. We got a call from Kaiser, and we got a call from Jack. Let's see. I'll tell you what, Kaiser, I'm going to take your call first because I want to find out if the call on that end is working. So are you there, sir, Kaiser?
Oh, yes, I am, BZ.
Okay, Jesus Christ, I can never figure out why the hell some days this thing works and sometimes it doesn't. So, for whatever reason, Kaiser Schuff, the techno gods are smiling down upon you tonight. Because calling
Isn't
in
that
on
wonderful?
it is. It's fabulous. Is it you or is it Memorex? Kaiser, good to hear you, sir. Good to hear you. I don't hear any. Do you hear any echo on your side? And folks in chat, do you guys hear any echo there?
I'm not hearing any echo on my end.
Okay.
I'm calling in. I've recharged batteries. I went back over to Europe.
Okay.
Been a couple weeks over there. You already know that.
Right.
Getting ready to jump off on another job. But the thing that I've waited for, this is exactly the trap that Pelosi and them never saw coming. Like you said earlier, a president has a duty. If his vice president, you can go back to Nixon. He had to fire Spiro Agnew or something like that.
Yeah, he got kicked to the curb.
He had to fire him for his malfeasance and misfeasance. Well, Obama knew because Biden was very public. He went on the Atlantic Council or something like that, And he bragged about how, hey, call the president up. You're not going to get that $1 billion until you fire that prosecutor. And because of the quid pro quo, fire the prosecutor so my son doesn't go to prison or get any embranglements over it. That meets that measure. And Obama had to have known because that means Biden told it. Hey, I'm going to go there and talk to them.
You can't convince me. You cannot convince me, Kaiser, that Obama was not aware of everything that was occurring during his administration. Can I halt you, Jared, for, oh, wait a minute. Mamba says on YouTube, yeah, there's a huge echo on YouTube. Okay, I'll tell you what, Mamba, just kill YouTube because I've had that before. Go on over to Spreaker or go on over to Facebook. Or just, if you're in chat right now, listen on Spreaker, and I think you'll be A-okay. Let me try an experiment. I've got Jack Alexander on the other line. I've got him Bluetoothed in through this board, and I'm curious because you should be able to hear him, and he should be able to hear you. Jack Alexander, are you there? Jack, are you there?
I can't hear him.
Okay, that's right. Neither can I.
All right. Well, I'll be quick about it. Just so Jack can get on, and I think Mike will call in too.
Okay.
Anyway, so my point is, this is what I've been waiting for, because they did Biden into this trap, and now all of a sudden, the investigation's already started in Ukraine. I'm telling you that now.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're investigating, and Biden is gonna. This now brings Biden under DOJ purview, and you know this because that is quid pro quo.
Oh, hell yes!
And
for his son?
Obama, yes. And since Obama was president, it brings the magic Negro into legal embranglement. And I got to believe that right now in the household, Obama's like, Biden, what the fuck you do to me?
Yeah,
I guarantee. Because this is bad juju. And I'm nobody. You know that, but I do know some of the law. So do you. And the statute has not run. We're only not even 3.5 years deep into President Trump's thing. Usually federally 7-year minimum on statute of limitations. So, and Trump will not be a lame duck in his second term.
Hell no. If anybody thinks that Trump is going to be laying back or laying down for anything in his second term, you have a massive, you're massively mistaken.
Oh, yeah. And I think Congress and the Senate will be taken back. I agree with you guys totally on that. But here's the interesting thing. The Democrats bought the ticket. They're going to take the ride. This is big boy rules. And Trump, he's fed up with them. And you know what amazed me to me? It took a Manhattan Democrat to unfuck the disgusting to me.
Mark your calendar, folks. Like I said, September 24th, 2019, this is the day that things began to turn. Would you agree with that, Kaiser?
Totally. And it was coming into focus when I was unplugged. I was hiking through the Black Forest, going to different castles places, and just enjoying my time with good friends and brothers. And you know what? We talked about politics maybe five times. That's it. And I wasn't able to like, comment, share. The only thing I could do is make Facebook calls to my wife because I brought the wrong computer. So that's what happened.
Can I give you a shout out? Can I give your brother a shout out? Wasn't it your brother, specifically your brother, who flew you back from Germany so that you could have your anniversary with your wife?
Oh yeah.
What an incredible thing that was for your brother to do for you and your wife. I heard of that and I thought, oh my God, I wish I had brothers like that. Oh my God.
Well, that's what he flew me out there because he's a part of the job I'm getting ready to jump into. And I shout out to him every day. You know, we've known each other for many moons. And so he flew me out there, and I was going to stay there for until I'm supposed to be in the other place. And I said, hey, it's my anniversary. He goes, you're making your anniversary. He said, come out here, and he goes, we'll handle business. And then after that, brother, as soon as we're done, he flew me out on the 16th. I landed here on the 16th. And the following day was our anniversary. We had a lovely anniversary.
God bless you for that.
25th anniversary.
That was wonderful. When I read of that, I thought, now that's a brother doing something amazing so that you could have your 25th anniversary with your wife. That was wonderful. God bless you, sir. Thanks for calling.
God bless you, BZ. Thank you. God bless.
All righty. Holy crap. Jack, do you happen to be there? Ah, God, okay. Mike, how about you? Are you there? How about now, Mike? Are you there?
I'm here, BZ.
Okay. All right. Jack, I don't know what the deal is. It says connection status is poor on my Bluetooth. So, Jack, I'm going to hang up. Give me a blast again. And I'll see. I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try to see if I can conference call you with Jack when he calls in to see if the technology will work. And theoretically, the two of you should be able to hear each other. But in the meantime, until that occurs, Mike, what is it that you wanted to say tonight?
Well, first off, the problem with you and technology. There's a problem with you and technology.
Hell,
and we all know this, right?
That's a given. Come on, that's an easy target. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Jack, are you there?
Hello.
Jack, are you there? I hear you.
I can hear you.
Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I hear Mike.
Can you hear Mike?
Yep.
Okay, great. You guys are both on. Outstanding. I have just... Wait a minute. I need this right now. I have just created the very first BZ conference call. Yes. In terms of technology, I have just done my very first conference call ever here in the Saloon. Mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. Not only in terms of impeachment and political importance, tonight BZ somehow managed to overcome technology and acquire a conference call.
I'm glad you said conference call and not threesome.
No, it's... That's a damn good point. Damn good point, Jack. See, Jack, here's the deal. Jack is still back on me with my pants down around my ankles, clutching a stuffed monkey, and the adjacent sofa is aflame. You're still back there, aren't you?
You were talking about the casting couch just before then as well, so...
Well, I said a couch. I didn't say the casting couch, but I did say the couch. So, guys, tell me your impressions of what the hell happened today and what you think may occur in 2020. Did Nancy Pelosi just manage to hand over everything to the Republicans, or will the Republicans take this massive gift, in my opinion, and somehow screw it up?
Well, BZ, there's an old axiom about a hole and digging a hole. How do you get out of a hole that you dug? You stop. The first thing you do is you have to stop digging. Well, the problem with the Democrats is they not only haven't stopped digging, they've accelerated it. You know, and that's your point. Your point is, and I get that, and I've said it before too. They've handed this thing over to the Republicans. It's a given. He's whoever comes out of this clown show of a Democrat primary, he's going to beat like a drum. It doesn't matter who it is. You know. But this thing that she and you knew this was going to happen, fellas. You knew that she was going to backtrack. I've said it before. Most of the younger Democrats that got elected this last time through, what did they run on? The one thing, what did they run on, DZ?
Well, are you talking about the crew or the set or whatever the hell? What are they calling those four people? The squad. That's right. The squad. Well, mostly they were running on free shit for everyone, but absent that, they were certainly touting impeachment for Trump. OMB, terrible guy. Terrible guy. Ding. Now Mamba says the echo is back again, just seconds later. Wonder if your callers are leaving the sound in their PCs when they call in. Yeah, if you guys are on a PC or something like that, make sure you turn your volume down. Jack, what do you think?
Well, I think Nancy Pelosi has allowed Alexandria Occasionally Coherent to back her into a corner.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. That deserves this. Just saying.
Because, look, for a while now, I've been following the idea that AOC wants Nancy Pelosi's position. She wants to be president, but to do that, she needs a senior management position. That's why all of the Justice Democrats are out there. They're not running against conservatives. They're running against other old-time Democrats so they can get the numbers in there so that regardless of how the election turns out, Nancy Pelosi will not be the senior-most member of the Democrat Party in the House of Representatives. And, that's going to go to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And so with the statement that AOC made in the media over the weekend that, that by not impeaching Trump or not even getting the hearings going, it showed that the Democrat Party was even more corrupt than what the Trump administration was essentially what AOC had said. So I see that Nasty Nancy, that postmenopausal menstrual stain on American politics, has been bullied into a corner.
Well, she's the Sino.
By someone who is too damn stupid to even get a job at Hooters.
What?
And went into politics.
Nancy?
And, has been, just nasty, just being steered into the corner. And, Trump has just sat back and just kept feeding out bits of 550 paracord and let them take all the rope they can take to hang themselves with. He has played them like a virtuoso plays a Stradivarius.
The point of that being that I think the Sino, the speaker in name only, Nancy Pelosi, has caved to the squad and the AOCs or the OAC upon approved credit of the world by saying that, you know what, I will start an investigation, but I'm not going to start impeachment proceedings because that leaves her a little bit of she's defunct in many mental fashions, but she's still not completely daft. She's left herself an out to the point where if things tank, she can say something similar to, well, look, I did the job that you asked me to, Democrats. I acquiesced to your opening some kind of an investigation. Now you pressed me to do that, and I did. Now the tanking or whatever results occur as a result of that, that's on you. I did what you asked me to do, and so if you don't like the results, don't blame me. I'm Nancy Pelosi. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think she's also left herself open to more condemnation because there are already Democrat members who have articles of impeachment already drafted. I mean, if she really wants to push this by and by, she could have said, okay, let's vote on these articles of impeachment. They are going to vote in favor of it regardless of anything.
Exactly.
So, but this is it's a case on her part to try and placate the squad and still try and hang on to some semblance of dignity. She knows she's on the way out. So, and she is so addicted to power, addicted to that speaker's gavel and the power that entails for her, that she is going to hang on to that as long as she can. You remember when she lost it and went over to Paul Ryan? He had to essentially drag it out of her hand.
That's pretty much true.
She didn't want to let go of it. It was sort of a bit of a tussle, and then the bad optics of this, so I better let it go. And then the foul look that that they put forward, she gave him after surrendering it. And, she doesn't want to let go of that job. So she's trying to, those wicked witch cat claw fingernails that she's got, grasp onto any semblance of the carpet to hang on to that position long enough in the hopes and prayers that AOC does not get reelected.
Here's
just a strategy game because she wants that complete and total unconditional power.
Well, I don't disagree in the slightest. I used to have video of this, but I don't have it anymore. Did you guys know that before she handed the gavel over to Ryan, what she did is she licked the handle behind her back and then handed it over to him? I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but it's true. Let me run something by you guys. Let's see. We got 5 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break. So just remember we got 5 more minutes, and then if you guys want to come back after the break, but I got another 5. Let me see what you guys think about this. So Nancy Pelosi, she pulls the impeachment investigation trigger today, set up the news conference for it, said that everything that he did was essentially unconstitutional. So what happens? They may have enough votes in the House to pass it, perhaps even with massive authority. I don't know anything about the numbers yet, but if they're not close, they have to either be close or perhaps over it at this point. So what happens if the House passes it? Then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate kills it. Further, this is the point. Further, let's say on a comet comes down and changes everyone's brains, and for whatever reason, the Senate decides to begin impeachment proceedings. I think that you just created, no matter how this goes, the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi, you have just created the official Mark I, Model I, OMB martyr monster for 2020. And again, that hands the presidential Oval Office right back to Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. Thoughts?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've always thought that, DZ. And think about it. She had a plan earlier that she wanted to not pull the trigger now, but wait until after the election. But again, that wasn't going to placate the squad and Maxie Pad Waters and all these people that actually ran on impeachment. They ran on it. All right. They didn't run on taxes or whatever. They ran on impeachment, and they wanted impeachment. I mean, what's her name? I'm blanking on the one that said it, but I want to impeach some motherfucker. You know?
Rashida Tlaib.
That's right. So So they all ran on that thing. So they weren't going to let her weasel her way out of it. You know? They weren't going to let her wait to pull the trigger because they kind of see the writing on the wall. He is going to win, and they're not, and it's probably not going to retain the House anyway. So they have to do it. They have to do it now.
I don't think they're going to keep the House. I honestly don't in 2020. Here's a very interesting article, and I know for a fact that this guy has been touting impeachment for quite some time. Representative Al Green, he's a Democrat from Texas, all along has been saying impeach, impeach, impeach. He came out of his little rabbit hole today after Nancy Pelosi, and he said this, and I think this smacks of everything that the Democrats have become. The Democrats now are like heroin addicts. They cannot not do this. So Representative Al Green today told the Democrats, he said, the public is going to turn on us if we don't impeach Trump. What that means to me is, no, not the public. No. They're worried about the new members, like the Squad. He's an old dude. The Squad is new, and the Squad has a lot of power. So he's not talking about, I don't think he's talking about the public. I'm thinking he's talking about the power that the new Democrats possess right now in the House of Representatives. We're going to have to go to a break. We'll come right back. I'm going to take you guys and mute you. We'll come back, and we're talking to Mike on the phone. We're talking to Jack Alexander on the phone. I will be back after this, and if you guys feel like calling, you can too. If you're watching on the Facebook page, the number is 209-284-3210, 209-284-3210. Jack happens to have the inside line just on account of because, and we'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
featuring the effervescent contrarian Sackheads Clint plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am the Bloviating Zeppelin. This is the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. And I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. That is always now spelled with a K. Always. And we had the honor of having Carrie Baxter Donovan for the first hour. Carrie is a great individuale, and thanks to her for being on the show. The first half hour and the second hour was a bunch of calls from tons of folks. And if you find yourself motivated to call in, you can do so yourself. Gee, I just said yourself twice. Watch that, BZ. Don't go Joe 30330 on me. So you can call 209-284-3210. That number in Zephron is with the universe prefix of 1, then dial 1-209-284-3210. If you happen to be in the Honduras, 209-284-3210. I'm not going to give you the Bolivian number because it is way messed up. So I posited this. I said, this is, well, let me go back a little bit. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when I was in high school, I had a civics teacher named Mr. Helms. For whatever reason, whatever it was that Mr. Helms said in my civics class, the only thing I remember today is this quote. And the quote was, just remember, small BZ, he called me small BZ back then, just remember, small BZ, Republicans don't win elections, Democrats lose them. The Democrats handed themselves over to the Republicans on a silver platter. I can't think of a bigger, more fine, shiny a platter to have used today, September 24th, 2019, than the one they handed over to the Republicans. The biggest question, Mike, Jack, is can the Republicans take advantage of that? That's the question of the day.
I think Donald Trump is already taking advantage of it. And frankly, if I was one of Donald Trump's advisors, I'd be getting on the phone to Attorney General Barr and saying, okay, this is the line they're going to take with me because I had a phone call with a foreign government official. Okay, fine. Send a fugitive apprehension team to pick up Hillary Clinton. Because did she not do exactly the same thing in hiring of Michael Steele, the disgraced British MI6 agent, to essentially dig up dirt to give her a political ammunition? Now, it was perfectly legal when she did it. Now, all of a sudden, it violates the Constitution and the rule of law. Fine, okay, if we're going to play that game, send the SWAT team around to apprehend Hillary Clinton and all the other Democrats that were involved with it. And I'm betting you're going to find that all of those Democrats that are involved with that are also involved in calling for President Trump's impeachment. So if they get perp walked out in stainless steel handcuffs, where's their investigation going to go?
A very important point on that. And the question that begs a whole host of questions. Before we go any further, though, here's another reason why I love the internet. And I told everybody in chat that I was going to do this. Here is the original predicating video. Here is audio and video evidence of Joe 30330 doing the exact same thing that the Democrats are accusing Trump of. So listen, and I'll explain a little bit if it requires an explanation, but this is evidence we already have. This is evidence BZ has. You can go to @BZEP on Twitter and dig around my timeline and find this. And it's going to be there. It'll be there. It'll be in YouTube. It's great. This is the original stuff. This is why I love the internet. You can find all of this stuff. Here's Joe Biden. What's he talking about? Ukraine. Here we go.
Convincing our team or others to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to.
Action against the prosecutor. Remember that.
We're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. I remember going over.
Okay, solid at the time. Let's break that down. Okay, this is Joe Biden. I'm sorry, Joe 30330, bragging live on camera that he got the Ukrainian prosecutor, who, by the way, was in the process of prosecuting his son, Hunter Biden, for a $1 billion fraud, fired by threatening to take away Ukraine's $1 billion loan guarantee. People are saying, okay, well, it's all about quid pro quo. Well, fuck me. There's the quid. Looks to me like there's the pro quo in the same damn video. Huh, imagine that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's right there to listen to. But what do we know about the whistleblower? We know he wasn't a member of the intelligence community. That's how you make an intelligence community whistleblower. So he doesn't even qualify under that. So the Inspector General of the intelligence community can't really lawfully consider him to be a true whistleblower, combined with the fact that now it's been revealed that the information he allegedly possesses is hearsay. That is to say, it's second hand. And that today, well, this past week and weekend, that was apparently, according to the Democrats, the straw that broke the impeachment back. Mm-hmm. So they had to impeach. Trump says he's going to hand out the transcripts. Jack, you mentioned that this was a setup. Mike, you mentioned that this was a setup. Is this Donald John Trump and some kind of arcane Machiavellian machinations? Wait a minute, is Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, is he smarter than the average bear?
He's certainly smarter than the average Democrat. That's for sure. I mean, and when it comes to this latest whistleblower, I mean, the Stormy Warren had more bona fide complaints against Donald Trump, and so did Christy Blasey Ford against Justice Kavanaugh, and all of those were completely bogus, yet they have more credibility than this whistleblower. You know, it's absolutely crazy that they're relying on all of this. It's just a circus. It's just a circus to distract the American people from the real corruption that's going on. And Donald Trump, the president, the 45th president of this wonderful republic has turned around and played them like a Stradivarius violin and handed them enough rope that they are hanging themselves out to dry. And it is absolutely beautiful to watch. They have today.
It is.
Nancy Pelosi must have realized the moment she went on air and made this announcement that she was surrendering the Democrat Party to a life of also-rans.
I'm going to posit two things. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
There's been several times in the past when the Republicans have had to spend a number of years in the quote wilderness. 40 years before they took back the House in 1996 or whatever it was, and stuff like that. I think we're on the verge of the Democrats having spent a great amount of time. New York and Chicago and all these places that can elect Democrats because that's what they are. That's what this city is. And they're steeped in Democrats, so they're going to elect Democrats. But across the South, you're never going to see a Democrat again. You might see one, but very not very damn well likely going to see one. You're never going to see one in Louisiana here because the one that's here, the only one that's here right now is holding on to his house. It's for impeachment and is holding on to his house very tentatively, And that's the thing. That's what they don't understand. The games they have made are going to go away. They're going to go away just like that. They're not going to get this. They're hoping they're going to get the Senate back. They're not going to get the Senate back. They're hoping they're going to keep the House. They're not going to do that. And they got nobody. And you know what? The reason why they're not CNN and NBC and ABC aren't reporting on the Joe Biden thing? Because they know that he is the only one with half a chance of making it competitive against Trump. He's the only guy. None of these other guys. None of these other guys. Pocahontas and Buttigieg and all these other people have no shot. They got no shot.
That's funny, Mike. That's exactly what I was going to say. Those were my 2 points that I'm going to make. Mike, I got another caller back after you, so I'm going to go to the other caller. Mike, thank you very much for calling tonight. I greatly appreciate it, sir. Let's see. Mystery caller, you are on. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you? Morning, evening.
Well, it's late evening for me, but what time is it for you?
It is quarter to five in the evening over here.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what over here means, I now have two very South continental people, very cultured continental people on. I have Jack Alexander speaking to me from Australia, the land of Oz, and now I have Jay from New Zealand speaking to me. So Jack and Jay, extend your hands really long and far across the water, shake hands, and come out fighting. So thanks for calling in, Jay. What do you have to say tonight about all of the foolishness that went on today in the United States?
Well, I'll put it out this way first. I'll address all the snowflakes and the liberals and the Democrats. Impeach Trump, and you're going to see not Americans stand up against you. You will see free people from around the world stand up against you. You do not understand. This is the only president that has ever in America that has patriots globally standing for him. So go and impeach him, and you will see what hell on earth will become.
You know, Jay, that's a very... God, I wish... somewhere in here, I have an audio cut. I wasn't going to play it tonight, but you may have forced me, you may have called my hand and forced me to play it, because I have an audio cut, if I can find it, of Trump speaking to an Indian assembly Indian and in terms of Indians, and they were going crazy over his appearance there. And okay, as I try to find this, let me make my 2 points, and then I'd like to have you two folks weigh in on this. My first point is, in my opinion, the Democrats have not moved from November 8th, 2016 to November 9th, 2016. That's point one. And that's the stem from which much of this comes. The second point is, I would suspect, and I'm positing this as well, that the bulk of things that are occurring these days is like trying to nail Jell-O to a tree, and they're never going to stop. That is to say, this will never stop, certainly not until 2020 or even after 2020, because it's all predicated upon the fact that they already recognize that they have lost the 2020 election, and they will they're like a struggling person in the middle of the ocean. The rescue swimmer comes out to them with a life ring, and they're so manic that they'll try to kill the person that's saving themselves as well. They have not gone over to 2016, and they already realize, I believe, that they've lost 2020, so they'll do anything.
Of course they're going to do anything. Look, something was formulated in 1907 called the International Union of Socialist Youth. My Prime Minister actually happened to be the president of it in 2009. This is a communist socialist movement. This is about corralling and corrupting the mindset of your children. That's why we've got so many snowflakes like millennials today. And the handbook of what he was doing. The UN is also using the handbook. At the end of the day, what Trump's doing, and he's doing it very wisely, is getting the Democrat and the left to show their true colours. If anyone has got common logic and common sense, they know he has ran his businesses to be a multi-millionaire that he is. He is very capable of crossing every T and dotting every I in what he's doing today, and they hate it. They know they've lost 2020. They know they haven't just lost in 2020, but they have lost the last 50 years of grounding because he's doing it all.
Here's the audio cut. I finally found the audio cut. I wasn't going to play it, but I'm going to play it anyway. While the media is trying to paint Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, OMB, Orange Man Bad, as a racist, here's what happens in the interim. 100,000 Indian Americans give him, Trump, multiple standing ovations after an incredible speech from Prime Minister Modi. So this is, again, I say, continuing proof the media is lying to you. Trump is more popular than before, continuing to extend my belief that he's going to win in 2020. This is Prime Minister Modi.
This morning, we have a very special person with us.
100,000 people.
He needs no introduction. His name is familiar to every person on the planet.
True.
His name comes up in almost every conversation in the world on global politics.
And I just wanted to, I'm going to pot this down. I just wanted to let you hear that you're purposely not hearing a massive amount of news just because of who this guy is, because he has offended the Northeast elite. He has offended the Democrats because he's cruel and mean and says what he thinks. Imagine that. You sure as shit can't do that in politics anymore. So everyone hates him, including rhinos, any number of Republicans who now are not nearly as important as they were. So Jay and Jack, number one, do you think that Trump will win? Number two, do you think that the House will go back to the Republicans? And do you think that we will keep the Senate in the United States of America?
I think you're going to get both. The Republicans are going to get both of them back. The only way that Donald Trump is not going to win is if he is sabotaged by the Rhino Republicans, because Nancy Pelosi has essentially surrendered everything over. There is no one there that is capable of running, and if somehow the universe aligns through evil forces and Trump is removed, the United States will descend into armed, bloody civil war, and nobody wants that.
No, nobody wants that.
And so I honestly think right, the only way that Trump is going to lose this is if the rhinos can't be controlled, your Mitt Romneys and what have you. And if we can if they can really target and silence them, and really make a point of saying, you will either get on board the Trump train, or we were going to do everything we can to expose you as an agent of democratic evil, then that's going to be the downfall. The only way I could see Donald Trump losing this. The other thing that he needs to do is to start playing by their rule book, not playing with their tactics, but playing with their rule book. And that means that the Department of Justice is going to have to start laying indictments against senior Democrats and senior Democrat fundraisers. And it also means putting Jeffrey Epstein back in the forefront, because this is all connected. And it also needs to happen very quickly, because it's also not coincidental that this has come out the very week that the world's media is in the country because of the United Nations General Conference.
Wow, okay. You make a very interesting point about that. That's a really interesting point. Jay, from New Zealand, any thoughts?
I would echo that statement. Everything happens for a reason at a time it happens. But at the same time, he is already investigating. He's got a major investigation going into the Clinton Foundation, which will sideline a lot of nations. New Zealand funding the Clinton Foundation, which puts New Zealand in the spotlight. And at the time, when Trump won the election, John Keyes stood down here as our Prime Minister in New Zealand, but we're still funding the Clinton Foundation. He is doing the indictment. I know that. It's not something you just do overnight. I do see civil war on the front. That's assertion. It's a shame it has to come to a civil war. It should have come to a revolution first and foremost. Obama was in office. But look, America and New Zealand go into the election the same month next year. The UN is I don't know if the Democrats have got to be worried about right now rather than the UN and this migration compact deal. Because next year, when the migration compact deal takes hold, and New Zealand did sign it, and we've just had some real bad news about that. But apart from that bad news, this is actually the bringing in of the new world order, the new regime. They take hold of our sovereign waters here. Now, when I say bad news, it broke out the other day that we're looking at a 300,000 increase of immigration to our country for our elections. which will throw our elections fully to Cinder's way of no coalition. We had a coalition in our last elections. This time it's going to go through the sovereign seat.
In terms of percentile, that's a massive amount. For
300,000 people are
New Zealand?
into this country between now and our next elections. New Zealand's smaller than Colorado.
That's a huge influx in terms of the percentile and the size of New Zealand as opposed to everybody else. The sad part of it is this. I got to wrap up the show. Jay, thank you for calling. Jack, thank you for calling. Both of you, thanks for
pleasure, man.
For representing Down Under. And both of you shake hands, and it's 9mm at midnight for both of you. Thank you ever so kindly for calling in. I'm just kidding.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Folks, that was it. I got to tell you this. Tomorrow night, I think it's going to be a chat show. Now, I have not called Clint, Sackhead's Clint, contrarian to Clint, to find out whether he is definitely going to be here. He has said he has. He said he will. I'll find out tomorrow. So, absent that, there theoretically should be a chat show in the offing. Thursday night, in the first hour, the second hour, I'm going to go into a ton of stuff like this. I'm going to get into global warming. I'm going to get into leftist Democrats and the American media maggots. You know that for a fact. But in the first hour, it'll be very interesting. In South Carolina, Lindsey Graham is up for election again as senator. I'm going to be speaking to a guy by the name of David Weichel, who is going to be running as an opponent against Lindsey Graham for the senator position, the Senate position in South Carolina. Thursday night, you're not going to want to miss that. Oh, and by the way, also want to tell you this, next Thursday night, I'm going to have on the Libertarian candidate for president in 2020. Both of these are interviews you are most deaf not going to want to miss.
Monsieur has unlocked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP, and on my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And particularly these days to the Pratt & Whitney Engine Company, Thrust. You can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony, of course. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle 1 refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than an hour. And thanks to Carrie Baxter Donovan for being here tonight in the first hour. Thanks to you ever so kindly for listening live. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks to the American Trucker for listening to me. Thanks for people listening to me in podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to do this, or night, okay, to do so. God bless, take care, be safe. Tomorrow, Sackheads. Thursday night, he's back. Good night.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.